Well, I don't know if anybody was honestly expecting this, but we are looking at a hint, it looks like, for part 2. The part 2 LR is set to arrive around the 10th of June. So I suppose, actually, I mean, yeah, I guess we're pretty much at that point, right? If we subtract a day from the 10th, like if the 10th night is the time of the summons, that means the 9th would be the 9th going into the 10th would be the day to download. 8th going into the 9th would be the animations, like the reveal. And so then at that point, it would be like the 7th to the 8th where we ultimately are given the second hint. Because there are 2 hints that are going to be dropping. This is the first one. It says 1 out of 2. So there should be a second one. So I guess we're kind of just right on track at this point. So what we're looking at here is just a very straightforward upfront announcement. The part 2 LR is going to be a movie boss. Both Global and JP's Twitter dropping the same thing, and everyone is pretty much now placing their bets on the various movie boss characters. There is no like one overwhelming favorite in terms of like what people want, but we know that it's going to be a movie boss. So as far as your guesses and as far as speculation, we really can only go so far. It's any character involved in any movie, any villain from any movie. That's pretty much it. Who is it going to be among those? More likely, I feel like the answer is probably leaning more towards Cooler or maybe Android 13. Cooler, I think, makes the most sense, but Android 13 is not someone that you can just completely dismiss. He is still in place. So this is basically just going to be me speculating and stalling long enough so that the video is good enough for mid-roll so that your boy can pay some rent. So let's jump in and take a look. And also, it should be worth mentioning, this happened. We have Android 13 dropping on Super Divers. Their like little video thing pops up right as, see, 50 minutes ago, that was, I mean, I'm recording this at 8:50, 8 o'clock, and look at this, 8 o'clock. So I don't know if that's just a coincidence. I don't know if that's meant to be something a little bit more serious, but I think that definitely moves the needle in favor of Android 13 for a lot of people. But again, it's Dokkan, they live to troll. Just because something makes sense doesn't mean it's going to be that. It's Dokkan. We are supposed to be wrong. That is the law of the land. So let's start speculating wildly. Let's start with why I am leaning towards Cooler. So take a look at the 3 newest characters to have dropped during this celebration. We have King Cold, we have Super Easy A Cooler, and we've got Tech Metal Cooler. All of these characters have certain category not restrictions, but conditions in their passives that would proc depending on the presence or the amount of whatever that category is, right? For Super Easy A Cooler, Movie Boss, Terrify and Conquer. We already know Movie Boss is in place, so we can forget about that. So we'll just account for Terrify and Conquer. Okay, that's one. Then we've got for King Cold, we've got Wicked Bloodline, Terrify and Conquer. Okay, so a Movie Boss that could potentially also be a Wicked Bloodline or a Terrify and Conquer. To me, that's where the context clue sort of points. And this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with this. This is just my line of thinking here. And then if we go to Tech Metal Cooler, Movie Boss, Wicked Bloodline. And then there's also the added clue of this down here. 25% extra stats exclusively to Cooler with an additional 25% stats to Metal Cooler. Metal Coolers get 50%. Regular Coolers get 25%. We've seen the benefits of the Metal Cooler bonus only on the free-to-play, but there's not a new character that's been given to us that would benefit from this. And to me, I feel like that's a big part of a character's kit. When you get something like this, typically there needs to be some sort of a new character that sort of relates to it or is relevant. And in all fairness, you could argue that's what this is. This Super Easy A Final Form Cooler is basically what we're getting for this, and that may be true. But I think in terms of a summonable release, that being a cooler that would have its own set of abilities and whatnot, that would work directly with this guy, that would be a bigger selling point for not only the part 2, but also the part 1. Because ultimately, when you look at it from a business perspective, they want your money no matter what. So what can they do to make these characters more enticing besides just being a certain character that you might like during a time that you're typically saving up? Well, you could do it where if you have this character, then you're more inclined to get the second character or vice versa. So that's kind of why I'm leaning towards Cooler. And again, I could be wrong. He is a Wicked Bloodline. He is a Terrifying Conqueror. He is a Movie Boss. He fits all the different criteria here. But the arguments against it would be the fact that this guy received a Super Easy A already. And then also LR Final Form Cooler at some point, hopefully soon, should be receiving some sort of an Easy A. And so if that's the case, then maybe a Part 2 LR might not necessarily happen. But I don't know. So that's why I'm thinking Cooler. So what I did with all of these context clues is I basically put together something in the custom leader skills selection. I took Movie Boss as the primary, and then I took Wicked Bloodline and Terrifying Conquerors as the secondary. So it's either going to be a full match for Movie Boss Wicked Bloodline or a full match for Movie Boss and Terrifying Conquerors. And the results with all of the full matches gives us basically every Movie Boss except for Android 13. Android 13 is not a Terrifying Conqueror. In all fairness, though, he has a power absorption and an artificial life form, so he still fits this guy's full maximum leader skill, but he does not fit the Terrifying Conqueror part. And I think that that's the game breaker. That's the deal breaker, because this is another clue. Terrifying Conquerors is what you need to run the All Out Seriously Serious stage. So if you were to release a character that is not part of Terrifying Conquerors, then it doesn't necessarily help you with this. Maybe, right? I'm not saying that completely disqualifies him, but it does definitely work against him. So if with that in mind, I'm now thinking if it's not cooler, there's a lot of other great options here. I mean, look at this. Garlic Jr. could be in play. Doesn't have a summonable character. Dr. Wheelo is in play. Doesn't have a summonable character. In fact, both of these characters are free-to-play LRs. That's it. Actually, that's not true. This guy does have a summonable character. I lied. This guy has a banner unit from the Gohan summonable Dokkan festival from like 3 years ago, something like that. But he was a banner unit. We don't have a summonable LR premium character. So this guy would be due for one. This guy would be due for one. In all fairness, even Turles would be due for one. Because if you consider the banner, when we were looking at the banner when it first came out, I think a lot of us kind of took exception to that physical Turles. Physical Turles is due for an EZA. He released in May of 2023 on the JP side of the game. He released in October for global, but he fits the cooler 220% leader skill. Oops, that's the wrong one. He fits the cooler's max leader skill. He is set for a potential EZA, and he would be a good proxy, a good replacement for that summonable Turles should that unit release and this guy gets his EZA, right? Also, there is no summonable Turles LR at the moment. This is Team Turles. That is not actually LR Turles. So, technically speaking, Turles also doesn't have a summonable premium LR character. So, I kind of like these. To be honest, I like Bojack. Anybody... Android 13 would be pretty great too, so don't think I'm like not wanting it to be Android 13. I would love for it to be Android 13. I think at this point, the only LR that I don't want it to be would probably be Golden Frieza. Golden Frieza is a possibility because Movie Boss, but I'm sure the second clue will steer us away from that. Golden Frieza has plenty of LRs, right? And both are, you know, competitive, both are relevant, both are necessary for some core teams right now. We don't need another one. Let's have it be just something else. Turles, Bojack, Android 13. I'm kind of now working against my own argument here with the Final Form Cooler, because let's just say it was going to be Final Form Cooler. Then I feel like this guy's EZA would probably be pushed down even further. Maybe. Would they do that? Like, let's just say LR STR Cooler, Final Form Cooler's EZA, Worldwide Celebration 2022. Their Dokkan Festival LR EZAs are happening during Tanabata or GDC. Would that be enough time separating between this cooler's like yellow coin LR release and that unit's EZA? There isn't a battle motion yet, so maybe the battle motion will come with either this guy's EZA or with another cooler LR release. I don't know. Ultimately, the point of this was to stall and speculate, and I have successfully done that. So the choice is yours to randomly choose a side. Let's see if you end up being right or wrong. I would say in a day or two tops, we will get the second hint, and that will tell us more specifically who it's going to be. It's not going to confirm it, because let's just say they do narrow it down and they say artificial life forms. It's a Movie Boss and an artificial life forms. Yes, it eliminates Garlic Jr., it eliminates Bojack, but it does not eliminate Metal Cooler Army. Oh my god, Metal Cooler Army. Oh, sorry, Metal Cooler. Oh yeah, you know what? Hold on. Technically, it could also be Metal Cooler, because this guy's a Metal Cooler Army. So I guess I shouldn't have even dismissed that too. Metal Cooler could still be in play. But, you know, there are still a few artificial life forms. I was mainly going to say this guy, Colonel Sanders. He is an artificial life form, right? What? That's a... What? Okay. So if it's artificial life forms, I guess technically speaking, it would just be between Metal Cooler and Android 13. But, you know, just... My point was, whatever the second category is, it might not completely narrow it down. So let's see what they say. I'm looking forward to when that next reveal is. In the meantime, let's speculate wildly. Let's take sides. Let's convince other people they're wrong. Let's just start gaslighting everybody. It's gonna be careless. You guys are just wrong. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below. Let in the comments your thoughts on what this hint could be getting at in terms of the Part 2 LR. Do you agree that it is leaning towards cooler because of the other characters that are already there? The missions? Do you think it's going to be Android 13? Does that Super Divers tweet at the same time lend any sort of credence to that theory? What other character among the movie bosses do you think deserves the release more? Whoever it is, would you even summon? Let me know your thoughts overall, any theories, anything that I've missed in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more content on the feature and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know when I see more I'm doing. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.